Our next fitting is layout item number 12, and it's going to be a very simple one. Just going to have two bends on it like this. There'll be 1 inch here. There'll be 7 3/8 inches here. Will be 6.5 inches here. Our blank out piece, we'll need one at 14 7/8 inches by 7 inches of 24 gauge. Here's our blank out. First thing we do is set the scribe at 1 inch. Mark an inch on our piece. Then we reset the scribe at 8 3/8 inches. Scribe the next piece. Then bend it up. Here's our finished bend up piece. You see the inch flange? It's going to go just like this. I'm more concerned about flushing this up to the front. Now do be aware you want to keep at least 1 inch away from the front. Preferably keep 1 1/4 inches. That way, as we go to do the finishing touches on the front of it, the fittings are going to have a 1 inch flange on it, and you don't want the screw to interfere with that. There's our heat exchanger with shell. Now it's ready to fill up with ash. Pour the ash in at this end, pour the ash at this end. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to start a little bit of assembly. First thing, take the fitting number 1 and slide it into the end cap, like so. Now, this might be a little bit tight right here at the corners as you're trying to put it in. That's where the precision measurements come in. If it's a little over bent, you might have to just plain old rebend it. You don't have very much play. You can be about 1/8 to 1/4 inch off maximum, and at that point it starts to really give you fits. But if it starts to give you fits, you might be able to take some tongs and just work it a little bit, flare it out a little bit, see if you can get it worked in. Take the other number 1 piece, put it in. Now, take the number 2 fitting and slide it into the C portion, and as you slide it down, be very, very careful. You don't want to be cutting yourself, and pushing down on here is like pushing down a knife. When it slides in down, make sure that you're getting it in the notch or in the seam of the end cap. Once it's down, go ahead and finish sliding it in. Make sure that you're flushed up on the top and everything's squared up. Then once you're sure you've got it good, go ahead and put a screw or a pop rivet in those joints there so it can't come apart. This is one spot in which if you have a Tech screw, which we talked about earlier, Tech screw would actually work better on this since it's so thick. However, zip screws on this 26 gauge is pretty easy still. I do realize you've got pretty well a one shot. If you put the screw in and this is not lined up or it has slipped out somewhere, it's going to be very difficult to get it to realign the way these zip screws bore the hole. Next fittings we need are these number 3s for the front, and on this one the 1-inch lip that's bent at a U shape is the one that'll flush up to here. Of course there's only one way it can go, so I don't even know why I'm telling you that. Make sure you're good right there. Do the same to the other side. Last fitting for the side panels is this number 4 fitting. Simply put, it's just going to go right here on the front and it'll screw in to the sides. Now this one here, it's more important to keep it flushed up to the top. Don't go above it or else it'll hold the end cap up. You can keep it below if you want, no big deal with that. But don't let this piece exceed the height of right here. Take something like some C-clamps, vice grip C-clamps. Hold it in place while you screw it. It's also a good idea to make sure it's nice and flush before you C-clamp it. And I definitely recommend using screws on this part right here instead of pop rivets, just for convenience sake. It's quite a nuisance trying to get pop rivets in my opinion. And for simplicity's sake, I'm actually going to pull this one out. And assemble it on the table.